Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm glad to be with you, and I hope you're back with me to read chapter 8 of Daniel. This story is getting more interesting, and we're not doing an exegesis on this. We're not doing a Bible study on this. We're just doing a reading of the book of Daniel. For those of you who might not have read the book, I just wanted you to hear the reading of this book, and I interject here and there, but for the sake of just wanting you to know that this is a wonderful book, and it's a companion book to the book of Revelation. So if you read this book and get any understanding, then when you go to the book of Revelation, the Lord will be able to give you some understanding of the symbols that are used in that book as well. So here we are in chapter 8. A lot has gone on. We've learned a lot so far, but I just want you to know that we're going to find out another vision that Daniel has had when he was in Babylon. And we're learning about this now while he's still in the second beast, which is the Medes and the Persians. All right, and we're going to get some more animals in this vision. In the last vision, we saw a lot of unclean animals, and those four beasts represented those nations that were to follow Babylon. And we know in the second chapter we learned about the statue, and those were in metals, and they were telling us about the kingdoms that will last till the end of time when the Son of God will return. And so now we're getting another vision, and we're going to get some more information about these kingdoms. All right, so with that being said, if you haven't already, as I always ask, please subscribe. Please hit the post notification bell and give the video a thumbs up. I do wish that you would do that for me at least. So thank you, and come along. We're in Daniel chapter 8. All right, Daniel 8 verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. All right, so Daniel is saying here that he had a vision, and this, I'm gonna let's switch versions here for you. Let's just bear with me, and we're gonna switch versions, and maybe that'll be a little bit easier than the King James. I should have did this at first, so thank you for bearing with me. He said, in the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar. Remember the last chapter 7, it was the 1st year of Belshazzar's reign. Then 3 years into the reign, he had this vision. So we're learning of the visions now. Okay? And I saw in the vision, and when I saw, I was in Shusha, the citadel, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in the vision, and I was in Ulai Canal. So he was someplace else when the vision happened, okay? I raised my eyes and saw, and behold, a ram standing on the bank of canal. It had 2 horns, and both horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw the ram charging westward and northward and southward. No beast could stand before him, and there was no one that could rescue him from his power. He did as he pleased and became great. As I was considering, behold, a male goat came from the west, across the face of the whole earth, without touching the ground, and the goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. He came to the ram with the 2 horns, which I saw standing on the bank of the canal, and he ran at him in his powerful wrath. I saw him come close to the ram And he was enlarged against him, and struck the ram, and broke his 2 horns. And the ram had no power to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and trampled him. And there was no one that could rescue the ram from his power. Then the goat became great and exceeding. But when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and instead of it there came up 4 conspicuous horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. Out of one of them came a little horn, which grew exceedingly and great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land, which is Israel. It grew great even to the hosts of heaven, and some of the hosts and some of the stars it threw down to the ground and trampled upon them. It became great, even as great prince of the hosts, and the regular burnt offerings was taken away from him, and the place of his sanctuary was overthrown. And a host will be given over to it together with the regular burnt offerings because of transgression. And it threw truth to the ground, and it will act and prosper. Then I heard the Holy One speaking, and another Holy One said unto the one who spoke, these are angels, for how long the division concerning the regular burnt offerings, the transgression that make desolate, and the giving of the sanctuary to the hosts be trampled underfoot? And he said unto me, for 2,300 evening and mornings, then the sanctuary will restore to its rightful place. When I, Daniel, had seen the vision, I sought to understand it, and behold, there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. And I heard his voice between the banks of Ulai, and it called, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. This is the name of the angel. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was frightened and fell on my face. But he said unto me, understand, O Son of Man, that the vision is for the time of the end. The vision that we just read and what is happening is not for your time. He's feigning. He's feigning because of the angel. He goes, but just know what I'm about to tell you is going to happen at the end of time. And when he spoke unto me, I fell in a deep sleep with my face to the ground. But he touched me and made me to stand up. He fainted on his face, but the angel touched him and he stood up. And he said, behold, I will make known to you what shall be at the latter end of the indignation, for it refers to the appointed time of the end. As for the ram that thou saw, which had 2 horns, these are the kings of the Medes and the Persians. So even though we're reading the first part and we didn't understand, like Daniel didn't understand, the angel is coming to give the interpretation. So remember, you got to keep chapter 2 in mind. If you haven't seen that video, please go back and watch it. And chapter 7, go back and watch it. Because the statue told us there was a head of gold, then there was the silver, which was the breastplate, which was the Medes and the Persians, and then the brass, the waist and skirt, that was Greece. So now that was told in Daniel chapter 7, it was the lion, the bear, and the leopard, and the beast that was nondescript. And so now he's getting this vision again, but with different animals this time. So the ram, which is a clean animal, remember all of those animals in chapter 7 were unclean animals. Now in chapter 8, they're clean animals. And it's referring to the sanctuary of the Most High. So they're clean animals. So the ram, which thou sawest, who had 10 horns, are the kings of the Medes and the Persians. See, that ram had two horns because the Medes and the Persians, two kings came together. The Medes and the Persians came together to overtake Babylon. In the statue, it was the man standing, and it was the breastplate with two arms. And with the bear had 3 ribs in his mouth, but he raised himself up with his arms. You know, bears have hands and arms, and he raised himself up. One side was higher than the other, meaning one of the kings of these two was stronger than the other. That's what it's talking about, okay? And it says, as for the horn that was broken, in the place of which 4 others arose, 4 kingdoms shall arise from his nation, but not with his power. All right, so let me go back. So in verse 20, it said the ram that you saw with the 2 horns represents the Medes and the Persians. Verse 21, which I skipped, I'm sorry. And it says that the goat is the king of Greece. And now we got the ram, which is the Medes and Persians, got 2 horns, all right? And now we've got a goat, and it's the king of Greece. Now we're in the leopard, and we're in the brass. And a great horn between his eyes is the first king. So the first king is Alexander the Great. That's why he was called the Great. He was a young man who took over the empire and took the world. He was fast and furious, and in a short time, he took over the world. All right. It says in verse 22, as for the horn, it was broken, in place of which 4 others arose. 4 kingdoms shall arise from his nation, but not with his strength. So his was broken, his horn was broken, and 4 horns came up on this beast, okay, on this goat, from his own nation, not people from outside taking over, but from him. 4 generals arose. It took 4 of them to rule in place of the one. So their power, even together, wasn't as great as Alexander's was alone. In verse 23, and it says, and at the latter end of their kingdom, when the transgression have reached their limit, a king of bold face, one who understands riddles, shall arise. His power shall be great, but not by his own power. He shall cause fearful destruction, and shall succeed in what he does, and destroy mighty men and the people who are the saints. This one's going to come up and affect God's people. By his cunning he shall make deceit prosper in his hands, and in his own mind he shall become great. Without warning he shall destroy many, and he shall even rise up against the prince of the princes, and he shall be broken, but by no human hand. So not only is he going to affect the Most High Yah's people, but he's going to come up against the Prince of Princes, which is Christ himself. All right, now it says, verse 26, the vision of the evening and the mornings that has been told is true, but seal up the vision, for it refers to many days from now. He says, don't say anything, because this is going to happen in the future from Daniel's time. And I, Daniel, was overcome and lay sick for some days. Then I rose and went to the king's business, but I was appalled by the vision and did not understand it. All right, so if you're like Daniel and you're like, what in the world did we just read? This understanding, Daniel said, this was too much for me. I didn't understand it. And he had more understanding about the truth than you and I. And at this point, he doesn't understand the vision still, even after the angel has given him the interpretation, because it's so much to take in, trying to visualize the animals and the kingdoms that they represent. And so he doesn't have that knowledge of them, because he's in Babylon, and now he's in the Medes and the Persians, and he's living out at this time, he's not even in the Medes and Persian. He's still in Babylon when he's having the vision. And so I can see that this was troubling to him until he now is able to reveal it to us and share it. He will get understanding a little bit later. So that is chapter 8. As we're reading through the book of Daniel, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go back and read it for yourself so that you can get some understanding, because the Spirit will lead you into understanding what is going on and what will happen in the future. That's the whole point of the book. We're in the prophetic part of the book now. And so we're just getting the backstory of what is about to happen. Like I said, in the statue, we're in the brass, we're in the feet, toes of the statue. We're down in the iron and the mixed with miry clay, and things are about to happen. But I want you to be prepared. I want you to be ready for Jesus when he comes. All right. So that's why here at New Life Ministry, we're just taking a look through the book of Daniel, not trying to do a Bible study on it, just a reading to get you acquainted. So maybe in the future, when I can do PowerPoints and such as that, we can go into a deep Bible study. But until then, I hope you enjoyed it. And until we meet again, may the grace and peace of God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ be with you all until we meet again. Shalom.